Let's take a look at the lesson, least number of coins. It says, how do you make 22 cents using the fewest coins? Well, let's look at that number, 22. 22 cents. All right, so we're going to try to use the fewest amount of coins to make 22 cents. Well, I know that a quarter is worth 25 cents. A dime is worth 10 cents. A nickel is worth 5 cents, and a penny is worth 1 cent. So 25 cents I can see is already more than 22. So if we tried to use a quarter, it would just be too much. So we have 0 quarters. What about dimes? Could we use dimes to get up to 22? Let's see how high we could get with dimes, because I know dimes are less than 20. Dimes are 10. So how many tens would we need? Let's see. If we have 1 dime, we have 10 cents. If we have 2 dimes, we have 20 cents. So we could have 2 dimes, which is equal to 20 cents. And then we need 2 more cents to get up to 22. And I know that the only coin that is a cent is a penny. All right, so we need 2 of those to make 2 cents. So I'm going to put my 2 up here. 2 pennies. So we have 20 plus 2 is equal to 22. So we used 0 quarters. We used 2 dimes. We didn't use any nickels because we wanted to use the fewest amount of coins. And then we used 2 pennies. Next, it asks, how do you make 15 cents using the fewest coins? So 15 cents. All right, I know my quarter is 25, my dime is 10, my nickel is 5, and the penny is 1. So would 25 work? No, 25 is too much, so we have 0 quarters. All right, what about 10 cents? Could we use one of those? Remember, we're starting on the largest side and going down because we want to use the ones that are worth the most so we can use the fewest amount. We can use a 10. Yes, we can use 1 10 because we have 15 cents. We could say 10, but if we counted by tens and tried to use 2 dimes, it would go 10, 20. Oh, 20 would be too much. So we just do 10. Now, can we add a nickel to 10? What is 5 more than 10? Let's see. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's exactly what we're looking for. We could do 1 nickel and be right at 15 cents. We've only used 2 coins to make 15 cents. Did we need any pennies? No, 0. All right. 0 quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and 0 pennies. This question asks, how do you make 77 cents using the fewest coins? So I see we have 77 cents. We have quarters here that are worth 25, dimes here that are worth 10, nickels here that are worth 5, and pennies here that are worth 1. So let's start with our largest one, the quarter. Can we use quarters to make this number? Yes, quarters are less than 77 cents, so we know we can use some of those. Let's count by 25s. 25, 50, 75, 100, or in this case, $1. Well, I know this one is too much, so we know we can't have 4 quarters, but I see 75 is less than 77, so we can use 3 quarters and we will be at 75 cents. So if we are at 75, we can count by 1s until we get to 77 because I know counting by 10s would be too much and counting by 5s would be too much. So let's count by 1s. We have 75, 76, 77. So we only need to count by 1s twice. So we have 75, so 1 penny would be 76. 2 pennies would be 77. So we needed 2 pennies. So we had 3 quarters, 75 cents, and 2 more pennies, 76, 77. So we used 0 dimes and 0 nickels. So it was 3 quarters, which was 75 cents, 0 dimes, 0 nickels, and 2 pennies to make it 77 cents. Next, they ask, how do you make 88 cents using the fewest coins? So we're going to try and make 88 cents. Well, I remember these are worth 25, dimes are worth 10, nickels are worth 5, and pennies are worth 1. Let's count by 25s, since this number is greater than 25. 25, 50, 75. I know the fourth one would be 100, and that would be too much. So I'll stop at 75. So we can use 3 quarters. 3 quarters would leave us with 75 cents. Well, could I add a dime and still be under this amount? Let's try. Let's add 10. So 75 plus 10 is 85. So we can use a dime too, because 85 is less than 88. Now, if we tried to add a nickel to this, it would turn into 90. So that would be too much. So we can say 0 nickels. But we do need some pennies. How many pennies do we need to get from 85 to 88? Let's see. 85, and then if we add 1, it's 86. 2, it's 87. And 3 is 88. So it's 3 pennies. So we have 3 quarters, 1 dime, and 3 pennies. So 3 quarters, 1 dime, 0 nickels, and 3 pennies. Next, they ask, how do you make 80 cents using the fewest coins? Well, I remember that we could count all the way up to 75 with my quarters. 75 is still less than 80. So it went 25, 50, 75. That's 3 quarters. Then if I were to add 10 more to 75, that would turn into 85. Can we do that, or is that too much? Yeah, that's too much. We're looking for 80, so there are 0 dimes. What about if we have 75 cents and we add 5 more? Let's see, 5 plus 5 is 10. It's 80 cents. That's exactly what we needed. So we just need 1 nickel and 0 pennies. So we have 3 quarters, 0 dimes, 1 nickel, and 0 pennies. Now they want to know, how do you make 18 cents using the fewest coins? I know my quarter is 25, my dime is 10, my nickel is 5, and a penny is 1. Well, I know that 25 is already more than 18, so we're going to have 0 quarters. What about a dime? Is 10 less than 18? Yeah, so we can do 1 dime. All right, because if we did 2 dimes, it would be 20 cents, which would be too much. So now, can we add a nickel? Can we add 5 to our 10? Yeah, because it would turn it into 15. So let's add 1 nickel. Great. So now we're at 15 cents. If we did another 5, we'd be at 20, and that would just be too much. So let's move on to pennies. Well, let's see how many pennies we need to add. If we're at 15, 16, 17, 18. We're at 18 cents. How many pennies did we add? 1, 2, 3. So it is 0 quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and 3 pennies. Let's take a look at the next problem. How do you make 63 cents using the fewest coins? I know when I count by 25s, it goes 25, 50, then 75, but 75 is too much, so I know we can have 2 quarters. Now let's try counting by 10s. 50, 60, 70 would be too much, so it's just 1 dime. And then if I added 5 to 60, it would be 65, which would be too much. Then 60 plus 3 would be 63, so I will add 3 pennies. 2 quarters, 1 dime, 0 nickels, and 3 pennies. Here we have, how do you make 92 cents using the fewest coins? Well, I know that 92 cents is a pretty big number. So let's start with our quarters, which are worth 25 cents. So we have 25, 50, 75, 100. Well, 100 is too much, so I know we won't have 4 quarters, but we can have 3 quarters, which is 75 cents. Now, if we counted on by 10 more, since dimes are our next coin, our next problem shows how do you make 92 cents using the fewest coins? Well, quarters are worth 25, dimes are worth 10, nickels are worth 5, and pennies are worth 1. I'm going to start with the largest one, quarters, because 92 is a pretty large number. 25, 50, 75. I know 4 quarters would be $1 or 100 cents, and we are not at 100 cents over here, so I know that 3 quarters is the most I can use, and that is 75 cents. Now let's try our dimes. If we add 10 to 75, it turns into 85. If we added 10 more, it would be 95, which would be too much, so we know we just need 1 dime. Now let's see nickels. I know if I add 5 to 85, it will turn into 90. So I can do 1 nickel. I cannot add another nickel because that will be greater than 92. So if I have 90 and I need to get to 92, I just need to add 2 pennies. That is 3 quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and 2 pennies. Next we have, how do you make 93 cents using the fewest coins? Well, I remember that 3 quarters is 75 cents. 1 dime is 10, so let's count up by tens. 75, 85, oh, it would be 95, but we're looking for 93, so that would be too high, so just 1 dime. Then I remember 85 plus 5 is equal to 90, so we can do 1 nickel. And then how many pennies do we need to get from 90 to 93? Let's see, 90, 91, 92, 93. That's 3 pennies. So we have 3 quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and 3 pennies. Last we have, how do you make 22 cents using the fewest coins? Well, 22 cents is less than 25 cents, so we can't use any quarters, so that will be 0. But we can try counting by tens. 10, 20, oh, have to stop there. So I could do 2 dimes, which is 20 cents. And then if I were to try to add 5, it would be 25, which would be too much, so we don't need any nickels. But how many pennies do we need to get from 20 to 22? Yes, just 2 pennies. So 0 quarters, 2 dimes, 0 nickels, 2 pennies. Thanks for your help, friends.